In my opinion, the greatest era of goaltending for hockey is the 2010s. And I know a lot of you might get up in arms about this, but if you really think about the revolution of this position, there's genuinely a huge shift from the 2000s to 2010s in how this position was played and the actual talent that came up through the draft. So today I want to do something fun because we're in the off season and there's not too much happening. I'm going to give you my 5 favorite goalies from the 2010s. Now this is just my opinion, so don't get up in arms about guys who maybe played a little bit further back like Luongo or Brodeur, because I think they're more 2000s goalies. So here's my list starting at number 5. So at my number 5 is Marc-Andre Fleury. Now a lot of people might be upset about this, but I think this is a great spot for Fleury. The guy won himself a cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins, but then afterwards got his job taken by Matt Murray. Then he went to Vegas and had a lot of success and is definitely one of the more intimidating guys to play against. But Fleury kind of has this weird winning thing about him. He can't get through the playoffs and seems like he's a little bit unhealthy sometimes with some injuries. And now seeing him in Minnesota, it feels like he's a little bit out of his prime, but definitely watching him during his main era, Fleury was a monster in net and deserves all of the flowers that he can ever get. At my number 4 position, I'm going and giving it to Jonathan Quick. Now Quick is honestly one of the more underrated guys, but I don't think Jonathan Quick was ever the best goalie in the league. If you take a look back at his stats, the guy had a bunch of great seasons, but past the little era that they had in 2014, Jonathan Quick's numbers went down really quick, and that's not even a pun intended. And honestly, I think he was more of a flashy guy to watch and was a product of the team that was around him a little bit. But I still think that Jonathan Quick in his prime was probably my favorite player to watch. This dude would steal a game. Some of the saves he would make was just honestly jaw-dropping. Like I can remember that 2014 Cup run. The dude was a monster and really helped push the LA Kings into the playoffs and to get them the Stanley Cups that they had. At number 3, I'm giving it to Tuukka Rask. Now this is a very controversial opinion because Tuukka Rask was never the starter for a Stanley Cup championship. But if you go back and look at this guy's number, I mean every single season this guy was putting up Vezina numbers. And with the Boston Bruins team that felt like it was like a dynasty for 20 years, honestly, I think Tuukka Rask headlined many of those series. And if you go back to the 2013 Cup run, Tuukka Rask was a monster. Go back to the 2019 run, he was a monster. And the only reason Rask retired is because he ended up getting a couple injuries. And I know that there's a little bit of a mixed feeling about Tuukka Rask, if you will, because he never really won much outside of like his personal awards. But Tuukka Rask, watching him in that time, that was honestly, my opinion, one of the greatest goalies of all time. Like, he was that good. At number 2, I'm giving it to Henrik Lundqvist, the King of New York. Now, many people might put him as number 1, but I have a different opinion for number 1. But Hank, he was a monster. Watching him in New York was just honestly a pleasure. And I feel like the reason Hank never was able to win a cup was genuinely because the Rangers just didn't know how to build a roster around him. His talent was incredible. His play style was so fun to watch. And the dude off the ice is just such a beauty. I mean, watch him on the TNT broadcast. He still has it. I love watching this guy. And he was maybe my favorite goalie to watch growing up. And at number 1 is Carey Price. Now, this, in my opinion, I think most people agree with me on this. But Price, again, like these top 3 guys, they didn't win a Stanley Cup by themselves. I mean, Rask has one, but he didn't win it on his own. And Price is in the same boat as Lundqvist. They're both on teams and were super loyal to their franchises, but they never built around them. And Price's career, honestly, is amazing. The dude really never had a season below 900 in his save percentage. I mean, it's honestly the craziest thing if you go back and look at it. He was a Hart Trophy winner, won multiple Vezinas, and the dude stood on his head in that cup run that they just recently had with a Canadiens team that had no business being in the playoffs. But that's my top 5. At 5, we have Fleury. 4, we have Quick. 3 Rask, 2 Lundqvist, and 1 Carey Price. But let me know your top 5 goalies from the 2010 era, and if you want me to do it for a different era as well, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.